Nora Perry, 1831 May 13, 1896, was an American poet, newspaper correspondent, and writer of juvenile stories, and for some years, Boston correspondent of the Chicago Tribune. Her verse was collected in After the Ball, 1875, Her Lover's Friend, 1879, New Songs and Ballads, 1886, Legends and Lyrics, 1890. Her fiction, chiefly juvenile, included The Tragedy of the Unexpected, 1880, Stories, For a Woman, 1885, a novel, A Book of Love Stories, 1881, A Flock of Girls and Their Friends, 1887, The New Year's Call, 1903, and many other volumes. Early years and education. Nora Perry was born in Dudley, Massachusetts, in 1831. Her parents removed to Providence, Rhode Island. In her childhood, her father was engaged in mercantile business there. She was educated at home and in private schools. She received a varied and liberal training in many lines. Her first piece, The Shipwreck, was written when Perry was 8 years old. Career. At the age of 18, she began to write for publication as a newspaper correspondent. Her first serial story, Rosalind Newcomb, was published in Harper's Magazine in 1859–60. Much of her time in later years was spent in Boston, where she wrote society letters for the Chicago Tribune and also became Boston correspondent to the most influential paper in Rhode Island, the Providence Journal. In 1859, there appeared in the Boston and other papers, printed, reprinted, copied one from the other, a touching poem called After the Ball. Ever since its first appearance in its fugitive state, the name of Nora Perry became familiar to readers. After the Ball, 1859, Atlantic Monthly, and Tying Her Bonnet Under Her Chin, 1859, National Era, were Perry's best poems of the 1850s. By the mid-1860s, she favored penning stories for girls. After the Ball, which was sometimes printed under the title of Madge and Maud, was afterwards incorporated in a book with other poems, published in Boston in 1874. But the many verses that Perry wrote since that time never faded from the memory of her readers. The picture of the two maidens who, at intervals, she was in the habit of collecting her magazine contributions and issuing them in book form, such as are often classed as summer reading. In this shape appeared in 1880 The Tragedy of the Unexpected and Other Stories, which actually was not a tragedy, but a pleasant summer idyll. In 1881 followed A Book of Love Stories, the very title of which endeared it to all the youthful readers wanting something new that did not require too much thought. In 1885, she published the novelette For a Woman. In 1886, a volume of New Songs and Ballads, and in 1887, A Flock of Girls. In New Songs and Ballads, 1886, there were several poems of high literary merit, though none held the sympathies of its readers as completely as After the Ball. Among the best of these were Her Lover's Friend, Lady Wentworth, and a piece entitled The Maid of Honor. Her verses collected in After the Ball, 1875, Her Lover's Friend, 1879, New Songs and Ballads, 1886, Legends and Lyrics, 1890. Her fiction, chiefly juvenile, includes The Tragedy of the Unexpected, 1880, Stories, For a Woman, 1885, a novel, A Book of Love Stories, 1881, A Flock of Girls and Their Friends, 1887, The New Year's Call, 1903, Youngest Miss Lawton, and Other Stories, 1889, Brave Girls, 1889, and many other volumes. These were briskly told and, like her verses, appealed to the sentiment of the broader reading public. Personal life. Perry was a friend of Sarah Helen Whitman. Perry died at Dudley on May 13, 1896. Style and themes. Perry abstained from any obvious moral purpose in her stories. Her work was of the moral order, and showed high thinking and careful polish. She never wrote a line which the most supercritical prude might not approve. Her eulogy on Vasco Núñez de Balboa, first European to see the Pacific Ocean from the isthmus of what is today Panama, exemplifies her poetic style. Her works of fiction were briskly told and, like her verses, appealed to the sentiment of the broader reading public. Selected works. Notes. Attribution. This article incorporates text from a publication now in the public domain. Colby, Frank Moore, Williams, Talcott, 1917. The New International Encyclopedia. Public domain ed. Dodd, Mead and Company. This article incorporates text from a publication now in the public domain. Dole, Nathan Haskell, Morgan, Forrest, Tickner, Caroline, 1898. The International Library of Famous Literature. Selections from the world's great writers, ancient, medieval, and modern, with biographical and explanatory notes and with introductions. Public domain ed. Merrill and Baker. This article incorporates text from a publication now in the public domain. Holloway, Laura Carter, 1889. The Woman's Story, as Told by 20 American Women. Public domain ed. Hearst. This article incorporates text from a publication now in the public domain. New England Publishing Company, 1889. The American Teacher. 6. Public domain ed. New England Publishing Company. This article incorporates text from a publication now in the public domain. Peck, Harry Thurston, 1901. The International Library of Masterpieces. Literature, Art and Rare Manuscripts. 24. Public domain ed. International Bibliophile Society. This article incorporates text from a publication now in the public domain. Willard, Frances Elizabeth, Livermore, Mary Ashton Rice, 1893. A Woman of the Century. 1470 biographical sketches accompanied by portraits of leading American women in all walks of life. Public domain ed. Moulton. Bibliography. Brown University Library. 1971. Books at Brown. 24. Friends of the Library. Brown University. Diffley, Kathleen. The 24th of May 2004. To Live and Die. Collected Stories of the Civil War. 1861 to 1876. Duke University Press. ISBN 0-8223-34399-9. Kuntz, Catherine. The 21st of November 2013. The Correspondence of Sarah Helen Whitman and Julia Dean Freeman. Writer to Writer. Woman to Woman. University of Delaware Press. ISBN 978-1-61149-439-6. Lewis, Richard Warrington Baldwin. Lewis, Nancy. National Portrait Gallery. Smithsonian Institution. 1999. American Characters. Selections from the National Portrait Gallery. Accompanied by literary portraits. Yale University Press. ISBN 978-0-300-07895-4. Ratina, Susan L. The 21st of January 1998. Great Poems by American Women. An Anthology. Courier Corporation. ISBN 978-0-486-40164-5. Works by Nora Perry at Project Gutenberg. Works by or about Nora Perry at Internet Archive. A flock of girls and boys at Project Gutenberg. Fennel. DK. September 8, 2010. Nora Perry. Watch out last summer's decay. Hidden cause. Visible effects.